War. What is it good for? Well, for most of society, absolutely nothing, but it does put a lot of money in a lot of the elites' pockets, which is something that I don't agree with. From a humanitarian standpoint, I think war is always avoidable. I think as human beings, we don't tend to really want it. It always seems to be very elite level people who seem to enjoy it. I think there's a problem, but it does have a massive impact on crypto, whether people choose to believe it or not. I'm very conspiratorial at the best of times, to be perfectly frank. Like, the whole climate change agenda and things like that. There's a lot of things that I disagree with, and I think that they are narratives designed to kind of further enslave like humanity in certain areas and restrict our ability to really grow forward as a society, a collective human race, essentially. But that's not the whole point of this video, but this is just one of the reasons why I think we're seeing such a dramatic crypto dip. And will we continue to see this going further? Quite possibly. I don't think this is the end of this particular dip. I'm not a bear in any way, but I think you have to kind of weigh up both sides. And I think that we've been ultra bullish for quite a while. Um, I'm still bullish on the long term of crypto, particularly as we enter into the real ramping up phase of a bull run, which I still think and still stand by, that I think the peaks will be in 2025. Yes, I am wearing a Colombian shirt. I'm not Colombian, no, but I do like the shirt. So war. You can see how things are going. There's Israel. We've got Iran. We've got Ukraine, Sudan, apparently on the brink of collapse and starvation as country marks 1 year of civil war again. Anyone affected by any kind of war, my heart will always go out to you. It's never good. If we look at the gold price, we've seen that it has dipped and then come roaring straight back again. Again, I think it's something that you should really, really keep an eye on. Will this be the only dip we have in terms of crypto over the next sort of, how many months of the year are left? 8. No, I don't believe there will be. Another thing to bring your attention to is this. It's another real major thing that's happening this year in this 2024. It's going to be the USA presidential election on the 5th of November in England. That's or in Britain. It's bonfire night or Guy Fawkes Day. It depends how you want to, whatever you want to call it. But it was a period in England where someone tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament and didn't succeed, and therefore that's something that we apparently celebrate. I'm not really that asked about it, but the election. So I have no dog in this fight. I'm not from America. I don't have any American political beliefs either way. They don't, it's not my remit at all. I'm not keen on Joe Biden. I never have been. But again, it doesn't really matter who's in charge, because the real people that are in charge are always hidden. They're well above these. Essentially, tend to be very much puppets, and I believe that just as much in the UK. I don't have this party politics. I don't like, obviously, certain parties, but I also think that it doesn't matter really who you elect. Ultimately the agenda will be moved forward. But having said that, there's a lot of talk, particularly amongst Americans. I know my largest amount of subscribers do come from the USA, and the general consensus is if Trump gets in, I think that's going to be the most bullish scenario for crypto. Whether that's true or not, I can't really guarantee, but I'm leaning towards that as well. Another thing to be bearing in mind is that interest rates, right? Many experts predict that interest rates will remain at their current level for most of 2024. This is another thing that has an impact. This is definitely another thing that has an impact, and I think it's just worth keeping an eye on all of these things if you can, in your spare time, just to kind of give you an idea of what's happening within crypto, because a lot of these things have negative, positive, knock-on effects, either way. Also, by the way, I'm going to show you, because I spoke about, obviously, Maddie before. I'm going to show you some of the actual videos of her AI. It's fantastic. I'll show you that a bit later in the video. Crypto bubbles. These are always fun, right? Everything's red. It's a sea of red, which this is another thing. I spoke about this the other day. I think it was Saturday. That this, to me, that they're always an opportunity. Like, if you're buying things now that are 30% down, Casper's 20% down there. Look, HBAR's 27% down. These are times where money, like big money, is really made, because this is the time where people are most fearful. Again, it could drop further. I think it may do. I'm under the impression that I think it will. You'll have relief pumps along the way, I fully believe. Bitcoin is down 11.3. This is based on the week, by the way, as well. This is a weekly bubbles. This looks scary. I mean, if you've just jumped in over the past couple of weeks and bought crypto for the first time, then this is going to look horrendous to you. But I think the bigger picture is that these are going to be prices that are unlikely to be seen long run. Because in the future, when 2025 runs, and if like I've said before, if you've not experienced a bull run yet, and the parabolic nature of what actually happens, you will see these prices being so minuscule on a chart compared to what they're going to be at the height of euphoria. Again, I've been saying a long time that if you've got bearish targets, then you've got like your kind of conservative target, and then you've got your bullish targets in mind for the cryptos that you currently hold. If the bearish target, so the bearish amount that you've set aside and gone like, if it hits this and I sell, if that's still life changing, that's fantastic. You want to make sure that if the bearish way is life changing, brilliant. You can always hold on, go for conservative, go for bullish, but you can judge that as you get close to the time. You can judge it based on sentiment, but also you can kind of make sure that you're taking some of your profits, because at the time when that bull run does finish, you don't want another 4 years of going through all this, dear. You don't. So this is another thing I wanted to bring in as well. This is mainly around stocks, but it's sell in May and go away. It's also known as the Halloween indicator. So it's one of the most well-recognized season trade strategies. And it theorized that investors selling their equity portfolios on May the 1st allocate the proceeds into cash and then go back buying those stocks again after Halloween. The theory kind of is that a lot of stocks, people who are within stocks and stuff, they'll get selling their portfolio. They go up to the Hamptons or wherever the very wealthy go and spend the summer, and then come back in time for autumn, and then see what happens. Now, does this line up with last year's Bitcoin chart? To a certain extent, it does. So here's May. And as you can see, in May, we did have kind of a dip. And then we had a little pump up in June, but it did kind of go sideways and down. And if you look at it, when October 31st come in, that's when we started seeing it go up. So there may be some kind of truth into it in crypto as well now, particularly now the ETFs are involved. Maybe there's something to that. But again, this is just an idea, but it's something that does happen in stocks. I know that. But this is what it could do to Bitcoin as well, and the various different things. We could be seeing a lot of sideways action for the rest of the year, and maybe not. But I do think that there's still going to be a few more dips and troughs along the way before we start getting to the real bullish peak stuff in 2025. And again, in 2025, there'll be little dips as well, dips that will feel huge at the time, but they won't be massive. They just feel that way. And I've shown you this before as well. So we're kind of here now. And if you look in 2020, we had the COVID crash, and we know about that. There's always going to be things that bring it down. We're probably around here at the minute, and we are having that dip, but we've still got all this to go. So all of this essentially down here is still to go, and that's up. That's up. So do you remember? I don't know if you've ever seen the film Back to the Future. Do you remember when Biff got the sports almanac, right? And so he had a blueprint of all the results from the various sporting contests for the next, I think was it 1950 to 2000 or something like that. I can't remember the exact dates, but he had a lot of like a blueprint almost for success. So this is kind of like that for us. Obviously, we don't know the exact dates and times of when these things are going to go boom. We don't know the exact dates and times when these things are going to have catastrophic crashes, but we do have an idea of what year these things are going to take place, and how we can kind of navigate it based on historical data as well as stuff that we can do going forward. So it is interesting. It is exciting. But a lot of people I know right now are really fearful, and I understand it. But if you remember when I spoke about controlling emotions and how we can kind of negate a lot of that fear, when you're in the times where things are dipping really badly and you are kind of getting a bit panicked, that's probably the time to start thinking about the future and thinking about, all the good things that you want to do. Like, because obviously you want to make life-changing gains. That's what you're here for. You want to change your lives. So what house do you live in? What car are you driving? Where are you living? What part of the world? These are all things that you need to start visualizing now, because these are the darker days, right? And when you're in the darker days, you want to start focusing on the positives. And then when the market moves up, everyone's going to be back happy again, and all the bullish sentiment will be returned, as you can see that from things like Twitter, things like YouTube comments, things like Telegram comments. When things are a bit ropey, negativity creeps in. Try and remove the negativity, and I think it'll help you navigate the bull run far much far better. So again, just going to quickly chat about Madison AI. Now, everything's going really, really well in terms of how she's developing and growing. Madison Gray is a name. This is obviously the all my links. Feel free; it's in the description to click on that. Join the Telegram there. We're always in there. But also, there is a Telegram. So this is the Maddie AI Telegram. So this is the company Telegram essentially, or the project Telegram for want of a better word. But this is Maddie's own one. Now I want to show you something. So these, go and follow her if you do have TikTok, and let me show you these two videos. These are really, really good, right? I'll show you these now.
Everyone underestimates me, but then they turn their back and I'm like, boo, and they're like, what?
Can't go hold me down. You can't tell me what fi do, where fi go, how fi dress. Me no papi show. Me a the star, so me a no fan of you do.
So as you can see, like it's getting exciting. It's really, really developing and really working well. This is Madison's X profile. So again, you know, the picture's just getting better and better. There she is in the park. Come to the park to walk the dog because there is a hot guy here. The only problem is I don't have a dog, which I think is quite funny. But as you can see, you know, it's just developing really, really well. This is the website. Feel free to come and have a look at this. I'm not going to go through the website with you today. That's for another video in the future. Maybe we'll do an AMA with obviously Jordana, Ben, and see if we can get maybe a couple of other people from the team as well. Again, that's, you know, if you're taking an interest in it, I think it's very, very bullish. I am on the team, so I'm going to give you that as a disclaimer. And again, anything I ever do say is not to be considered financial advice. We don't do that. We never have. We never will. But I just hope this gives you a bit more of an idea, though, about how, because I know a lot of people are really concerned. I'm getting a lot of messages about people saying, oh, you know, crypto's doomed. It really isn't. It really isn't. You can hold on to a small portion in fiat, because then, you know, the bigger the dip, if you keep buying them dips, long run, you're going to be far, far better off, in my humble opinion. Now, nothing I can say again can be taken as financial advice, but I think it's important to kind of look at the bigger picture when people are starting to panic. And I understand why people are panicking, but these things happen all the time. These things do generally happen all the time. It was COVID in the last one. Can you say COVID anymore? I'm not sure. It was COVID then anyway. Basically, I'll see if I get striked. Now it's war, and it'll be something else very, very soon. So just keep an eye on things like the news and that, and just don't always believe what you see. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing day. So wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, have a fantastic day, have a fantastic evening. Generally delighted to have you here. We're very close to 4,300 subscribers now. Let's try and push through that and hit the 5,000 subscriber mark potentially very soon. Thank you for joining us today. Take it easy. Goodbye.